Okay, here we go. This is the interior of the car. It's already been painted and carpeted. But what I want to show you is the seat belts. This is the rear section of the passenger compartment. As you can see, I've already installed the seat belts on both sides on one side of it, and we're gonna walk you through how I do that and really how easy it is. Before I do that, let's take a look at these are the front seats. And as you can see, the seat belts are already installed there, belts and buckles. Let's see if we can give you a better look at that. And then where's the camera at? Let's get a little better light in here. There we go. You can see there's a photo etched buckles with fabric seat belts. Now the buckles I get from Model Car Garage. This is the part number of the kit. It's a full set of photo etched belts and buckles for different applications, different types of seat belts. As you can see, I've used most of it at this point. I'm gonna have to order some more. And for the seat belt material itself, you can get a whole roll of this from Hobby Lobby for $1.99. It's enough to do quite a few cars. You can also order this from Model Car Garage, but it's quite a bit cheaper if you just get it from Hobby Lobby. Alright, so let me get started on this. Now the first thing I do is I like to cut out a nice amount of seatbelt material. Just use a hobby knife, cut a little strip out, and then we just go right to the photo. It's just really a very simple procedure. No real magic to this. Just remember when you're cutting out your photo etch parts to either lay them on a piece of tape, keep them pinned down because they do tend to love to fly all over the place. And here we go. There is your, let's see if we can get the camera to focus on that little tiny buckle there. Let's put a little light on the subject here. And whoops. And like I said, they love to go flying. Luckily, I've got a spare because I'll never find that. Here we go. Here and here. Now comes the fun part where you have to thread seatbelt material into the buckle. Make sure you thread it in the right direction, as you don't want the overlaying material to appear on the outside, so the engraved part of the buckle faces upward. So you make sure that the flat part of the buckle is where you fold the material over on that side. And it's basically that simple. Now what I like to use is some of the Tester's clear part cement, as it won't stain the material, and it'll hold nicely without leaving any marks on the material itself, because you'll notice that as you glue the material, fold it over and glue it together, the glue will soak into it. So then what I do is, to make sure it maintains its shape and glues down completely, I use my Husky clamps. Got these from Home Depot. I think it's about $10 for a set of 4. These are invaluable for our hobby. And I clamp the belt together, right where I glued it. Now right here you can see the buckle. You can see the engraved part of the buckle. That's the part that's going to show when you glue it into the seat. The other side is just, as you can see here, it's just it has no engraving at all. I'm not sure if you can see that with the lighting. There it is. Has no engraving on that side. That's the side that you want to fold the flap over on. So now we'll just let it sit in the clamp for a minute. And we'll work on the clasp for the buckle. Basically the exact same procedure. Now this particular kit has several different types of clasps. So I'm just going to pick the same one that I picked for the other one, because they all have to be the same, matching in every car. There we go. There we go. Photo etch parts are fantastic. Now it's the exact same procedure. We cut a small bit of the seatbelt ribbon. And then we use our tweezers. And then we thread our seatbelt material through the clasp. Now this side doesn't matter what side you glue down on, because the clasp is the same on both sides. There's no top or bottom to it. So you don't have to really be worried about which side you glue up. You glue the flap over. Let's see if you can see it. The flap that you have to glue over to hold the seat belt latch in. You don't have to worry about that, because the seat belt clasp is the same on both sides. Can you see that there? Let's see. There you go. So then the exact same procedure is you grab another clamp. I'll put a drop of glue. Let me just clean that. There we go. Now you just have to make sure that when you fold it over, that you keep the belt lined up straight, because you don't want to see the flap after you glue it down, so it appears as if it's just one straight bit of seatbelt material there. So there you go. Let's see if we can get that. Right there you can see the seatbelt and the clasp there. There you go. So we give that a minute to dry. And we go back to the other side with the buckle. We'll pull that out of the clamp. Hopefully by now it's dried and solid. Except that the material's moved over a little bit. There we go. Okay, and there we have, you can see that there. Let's see if the camera. There you have seatbelt and buckle all assembled. Now we install it into the car. Wait, the glue did not hold very well here. That sometimes will happen where the glue won't hold. And then you just have to start over and glue it down again. Because sometimes the glue will soak into the seatbelt material instead of laying on top. Okay, it's not the most exciting or glamorous part of it, but let me see if I can still get that through there. There we go. This is in real time, showing you exactly what I go through. I said it's a little tedious. It's not the most glamorous part of doing this stuff, but a little more glue there. Make sure everything is straight. Now, I find sometimes that on the second attempt, now that the material is impregnated with the glue, it won't allow the second layer of glue to soak through it, and it'll bond better than it did on the first attempt. Now, when installing the inside part of the belt here, what I like to do is lay them down in almost a natural setting, as if they're just laying on the seats. So I usually cut at an angle, because in the real car the seatbelt material is coming from inside the cushion coming out. So you want to make it look as if it's actually laying into the cushion. So I cut at an angle depending on where I want to lay the seatbelt. I mean, you can put it straight ahead if you want, and just show them as if the seatbelts are displayed on the cushions, but I just kind of like to have them laying in a more natural position. So now let's check the buckle here, the clasp. We'll see how this one made out. And this is good. No. Again, gonna have to try a second attempt to glue them down. I used to do this with CA glue, but found that the CA glue will soak into the material and actually discolor it, as opposed to just soaking in. It would actually turn the material white. CA glue does bond better. Alright, so we're going to let those dry, and then we'll be back. Okay, so here we go. Again with the finished seatbelt and buckle. Now, as I was saying before, what I like to do is I like to lay it at an angle that will replicate a more realistic way that the belts would actually be laying in the car. And I like to more or less make them equal, so what I'm going to do is just measure out more or less the length I have on the other one. Right about there. Won't make them exactly the same. Just bring the buckle out where I want it. There we go. see if you can see that a little bit better there. Okay, now I will cut this at an angle opposite of the last one, so that I won't do it at exactly the same angle because I don't want them to lay exactly the same. Similar, but not the same. All right, let's place the other one back here. That's going to be re-glued back where it belongs. And this one will lay here. Maybe you can see that. And there we have half our seatbelt done. Now let's go back to this one that was giving me trouble gluing down. Okay, that one looks like it's finally taken. So now we have the clasp is finished here. Let's give you a good look at that. I know it's tiny, it's hard to see, but it's there. Now, let me just take these off so we don't lose them. Now, what I like to do with the clasp is, since it drapes over the edge of the seat, and it's going to sit here like this, what I like to do is I super glue this to the bottom of the car the way I did on this one here. As you won't see that, so it doesn't matter if the super glue does give it a little bit of discoloration. And then I wrap it over, making sure that I keep the flap side under so that you don't see it. So we'll get a little bit of super glue. Or Seagate glue, whatever you want to call it. Drop a bit of it here where no one will ever see it. And then make sure that I glue it down on the right side. Just make sure that I get the amount that I want over the seat, which is going to lay right there. That's a good amount there. And then I will just glue it down underneath. I'll give that a second to set. Now you'll never see this part of the car once the car is assembled. So applying a little bit of super glue down here and leaving the excess seatbelt material sitting over. That's something no one will ever see. Then all that's left to do is just to lay the seatbelt. Let's get some of this off there. Even a little bit of excess glue on the material there. Let's get that off. And then I will glue it down on the seat right there. And there we have our seat belt. So let's do a little bit of that. Now here I can use super glue because I have a double layer of material, since I'm gluing on the flap itself and not on the thinner part of the belt, so that it won't soak all the way through. And then all that it needs is just to be laid down and attached to the seat. Hold it down for a second, let it set. And there we have a completed seatbelt. Now I'm going to lay the other two in, and then we'll be back for the finished job. Okay, and here we go, we're back, and there you go. complete left and right side rear seat belts. Alright, well, that's pretty much it for this video. Gotta finish up the rest of the interior. Hope you guys found this informative. Pretty sure most of you know how to do this already. It just, for those who don't, that's pretty much all it takes. Alright, I'll see you on the next one. And Dan Mormonstein, see, now you have an answer.